Well, hey there, Tiffany here, and welcome to another episode of the After Hours Chats podcast. And I am here with somebody I just talked to not too long ago because I was just on his podcast. It's David Fairhead, who has Kettle Whistle Radio. Plus, he is an author as well, and we're gonna talk to him a little bit about his work and what he does, and yeah, so let's get right into it. So like for those unfamiliar with you and your work, just maybe start off by telling a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Tiffany, thank you for this. And
Yeah, you're welcome.
it is funny. Yeah, you were just on my show, and noteworthy, Tiffany was my first guest ever.
Woo!
Going back, I want to say it's between 13 and 15 years.
Mhm.
So,
yeah.
So Kettle Whistle Radio. Yeah, that's, I guess, how people would know me now. And yeah, Kettle Whistle Radio is music, horror, subcultures, independent artists like yourself. Basically, if you have something to bring to the table, we're going to interview you. And music is a big one. Sometimes we get the heavy hitters, sometimes it's garage bands. I almost prefer garage bands because I like to see them up and coming and where they go from there. But that's the music aspect. And I work with Jess Weary and Erica Timko. And noteworthy, Erica Timko has a show worthy of this show. You might want to get her on. She does Bakusku TV Fashion Trashin', which is an irreverent show, kind of like a Pee Wee Herman type Playhouse thing.
Oh wow! I might have to check that out. Yeah.
With real rock stars occasionally doing voices, so it's pretty cool. Jess Weary is a musician and my co-host. So it's been very successful, but a lot of people outside of that circuit, and it's really funny how you and I have, I guess it's interesting how we come together in certain places, convention circuits.
Yeah.
I'm a horror author. I guess I should show, my first book was this one, The Fall of Tomorrow.
Yeah, those of you watching on YouTube, you'll probably see his book, The Fall of Tomorrow, but if you're listening audio, he just showed his book called The Fall of Tomorrow. So, and was that your first book, or?
That's the first one,
Okay.
yes. And everybody thought it was about zombies. It's not. It's a demon apocalypse. And I was
different.
heavily influenced by the book Dracula, Bram Stoker, and the journalistic style of writing. And I decided to take that approach. Not doing anything that World War Z did, nothing like that, because my characters actually meet and plan and mingle, and chapters cross over to each other, and how they're dealing with this H.P. Lovecraftian nightmare. So that's how I kind of cut my teeth with that one.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that too, but anyway. But yeah, I'm definitely a horror author. I'm older now, so I'm actually prouder of the fact that I am, because I've written several books now, and I have more coming out this summer. I can't wait, actually. Yeah.
Well, I have one of your books right here. This guy.
Oh man.
It's called Dead Memories, and it's and I'm currently reading it right now. Pretty good. And
Thank you.
And it's a collection of short stories, and sometimes I love like full-length storybooks, like books and everything, novels and stuff. I'm saying storybooks like we're in a fairy tale, but
I'm writing my first fairy tale, so that's I'm doing a 100-page novella, so that's no mistake, Tiffany.
Yes, there you go. So maybe I said storybook for a reason, but you know, I love full-length books. But sometimes it is nice to just have like a collection of short stories where you can just kind of delve into a short story. If you're pressed for time, or if you don't want to or if you're not I don't want to say don't want to, because it's not like I don't want to commit to a full reading a full storybook or something like that.
Yes.
But sometimes like a short story, it's like okay, I'm just in the middle of maybe I'm in the mood for reading just reading a collection of different stories, and kind of like an anthology. Or if you're pressed for time, and okay, this short story in here looks cool, but
or if you have ADHD, short stories are great.
Yeah.
That too. I got a variety there for you. So.
There you go. Yeah. And so I need to ask you, what would you say, because you've written a great variety of stuff, but usually within the more kind of horror, or
Hmm.
like gothic, type of genres, or at least
Yes.
stuff that would appeal to that crowd. So, what would you say, like, influenced, some of these stories as well as, just your work in general?
There's a lot. There's a lot there. That book's very personal, so I should probably just address that
Hmm.
first. Four of the stories are based on truth. Two are actually true that
Yeah.
happened to me.
Oh.
Chapter 6, Shapin Dead Cell, is the true story of something that happened to me,
Hmm.
and I had an affliction, a weird one. I had a kind of a growth, a tumor by my pancreas that
Yeah.
cut down all flow of certain enzymes,
Ooh.
and I ended up in the hospital. And I
Hmm.
was, man, I lost. I was really built, and
Yeah.
I lost everything. I was in the hospital for about, I don't know, it was like 3 4 months, something like that. But the
Hmm.
recovery time was longer, and I wrote down afterwards what happened to me
Hmm.
because something similar had happened once before, and it's a learning experience and a learning curve and something you never want to happen again. I had some weird stuff too,
Uh-huh.
and I wrote it. I put it in there. It felt good. It felt cathartic, and taking my life back.
Hmm.
And that book is about regrets, remorse, and the one R that's not really in it is revenge. That one is
Hmm.
more about human emotions, drama. That's more of a drama horror, horror rama, I would say.
Yeah.
If you read like Left Behind and Then Came Rain, I have the male and the female
Hmm.
point of view of depression, and how it can have its way with you, and where you can go with that. Whether it's good or bad, I'm not going to spoil that, but
Right.
it's to let the reader know they're not alone. And
Hmm.
the one story, I don't know if you got to it, but the one Then Came Rain, when my editor actually read that, he
Okay.
told me that he was out of commission for 2 weeks, and he said I busted him. He broke down.
Hmm.
And when you could do that to your editor, I guess you're effective.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know. But it was a lot of fun to write because it was all short stories, and it was going to be a coffee table book, meaning
Hmm.
there you see the pictures in there. Tanya Mendez was my photographer. She's
Hmm.
a phenomenal photographer who doesn't really
Hmm.
want a lot of credit for anything, but
Yeah.
she's in there. She didn't want
Hmm.
to write up anything, but she
Oh my
took these
gosh.
pictures, and I was just going to write a story about each picture.
Yeah.
Then they developed, and then I started, I had some news articles and things I was following up on from other
Hmm.
stories and redeveloping, and it's stories that all come together because I like to reward the reader if they remember something from before or another
Hmm.
book.
Yeah.
But you can read it separately, you can read the story separately, but if you're
Hmm.
looking for something, the Easter eggs are there, and they're vile little Easter eggs.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Cool.
Mhm.
And like, what writers have influenced you?
Wow, okay.
A lot.
I mean, it's really cliche for me to say Stephen King, Anne Rice, H.P.
Hmm.
Lovecraft, Clive Barker. I
Hmm.
grew up with all of them,
Yeah.
including the movies and everything. But really, we don't want to go back to like American literature and also English lit. But I met my wife in an English lit class, Denise. And
Okay.
we read some of these stories, one of which is Young Goodman Brown by Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Okay.
Yeah, witches.
Yeah.
Yeah, a man like haphazardly walks into a satanic occult ritual taking place, and it's a short story I'm in a class reading this story. I'm like, wow, this is pretty strong stuff. Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Yeah.
My first horror literature, I'd say, that I really got into, and it affected me. There's here I actually I wrote some things down so I don't forget.
Okay. Yeah.
On that, yeah, okay, this is a weird one. This is a weird one.
Hmm.
James Joyce, Araby.
Oh,
Okay, this is a
okay.
short story. Now, this one here is about a kid who wants to. I think he sneaks out of his house to go to a bazaar
Yeah.
with a little bit of money to go buy a present for a girl he likes, and I believe he gets the gift, but he never gets to give it to the girl. So it's like
Hmm.
unrequited love type of thing, and
Yeah.
that for some reason stuck with me about this kid's sorrow. He never got to do it, and
Oh.
I wrote a whole novel after that, non-published, called
Hmm.
Worlds Apart, and about a guy on this quest to free the realm of, and he, of course, chasing the girl the whole time into this realm,
Hmm.
and trying to find her, and at the same time find himself and save the realm, but using
Yeah.
evil means to do so. So that was like back in '91 when I wrote that, and
Oh wow.
that may seem the light of day. it may seem the light of day.
I was gonna,
But
yeah,
yeah,
like, hey, produce it out as your, hey, this is the first thing I've ever written, you know?
I'm telling you, I'm working my way towards it because as we speak, I'm writing this fairy tale right now, which is
Mhm.
a 100-page novella in the middle of all my work that sets the stage for me to eventually bring that Worlds Apart is the name of the book, Worlds Apart Bloodbind,
Ooh.
to bring that back. And because it's
Mhm.
400 pages sitting right here,
Yeah.
never put on in digital. So I have to like revise, a lot of
Mhm.
revise,
Oh
a
gosh,
lot of
yeah.
revisions. Yeah, yeah, you can imagine. But yeah, there's some. I had another prop here to show you. This is very strange.
Oh,
I don't know if you want beginnings. Do you want beginnings yet,
sure.
or
Yeah.
very strange? My friends back in New York can remember a store called Genevieve's, which is a pharmacy.
Okay.
And I used to ride my bike there as a kid and look at paperback novels, comic books, and if I saw
Yeah.
something I shouldn't have, I had to buy it. And one day I bought Alan Dean Foster's screenplay. Well, it's actually the adaptation of John Carpenter's The Thing
Okay.
in paperback. I
Yeah.
read that thing and I had seen the movie, and this is early, like what is this, like 81 or something like that?
Okay.
And, and I decided to write my own version of it. So I started writing my own
Mhm.
versions of things, and that one I couldn't top because that thing's a masterpiece. So,
Mhm.
but reading things like that, reading bad paperbacks, and then developing my own ideas from them. And
Mm.
finishing stories that I thought didn't end right. I didn't like how they ended, so I rewrote them.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So stories that you would read written by other people, you're like, yeah, I don't like the way that ended.
Don't like the ending.
I'm gonna rewrite it for myself.
You
I
bet.
love that.
People ask me all the time, how could you watch that crap? Like really bad. And you do it too. You watch bad horror movies.
Oh
You
yeah.
watch good horror movies.
Huh.
But bad
Right.
ones, I watch the bad ones to see how I can make that better and then
Yes.
practice it and rewrite it a little bit and play with it. When I was a kid, I did
Mhm.
it with toys and models and storyboards. Now I do it with storyboards and writing.
Mhm.
And I have a list of things I'd like to, if somebody could let me write screenplays for, I'd write a better screenplay. And I actually talked to some of the creators about that. I don't know if they
Uh-huh.
were insulted or not, but I don't care either.
I mean, hey, gotta set your ego aside there a little,
A
a
little bit, yeah.
little
Like, hey,
bit.
this we could have done this, type of thing. But
Yeah.
one of which I'll just say, like, there's a movie called Food of the Gods, H.G. Wells,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
everybody says how bad the movie is. I like the idea
Mhm.
about this stuff coming out of the earth that makes
Yeah.
creatures eat it. They turn into monsters. They turn huge, and
Mhm.
I don't think it was done to its potential. I think there's a lot more, and that's kind of like the Fall of Tomorrow. These
Mhm.
things were coming out of the earth, these
Yeah.
demons, and they don't look anything like us. They're not
Mhm.
zombies, but just the idea of being invaded by creatures and not knowing what to
Mhm.
do with it, an army of them,
Yeah.
and not zombies. No more zombies, folks. Enough.
We
They
have a lot
show
of
up.
zombies.
They do. Yeah, we're in the zombie capital of the world, so
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we've had it up anyway. But I strayed. Did I cover what you want?
Oh, yeah. Hey, you're covering more than. But yeah, no,
I
that's
tried.
fine. That's what this is. Hey, that's what this is for, to sit down and talk about like the stuff that like influenced you, and you know what made you really like want to become a writer and write
Yes,
stories, and
it's
and
not the
then
money. It's certainly not the money. You know that. Um, yeah, people like you help, and that's doing the show helps. Music. I listen
yeah,
to a lot of music. I'll get into that too. But
yeah.
the, early on, I wrote my first novel. I was 8 years old.
Oh wow.
Whatever, chicken scratch,
Yeah.
20 pages written out. Godzilla versus Gamera.
Oh,
Be-
okay, love it.
because Toho Productions would never be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Those two never will have screen time, but I thought they should, so I wrote that. And my friend Christina Apostolico, back home,
Mhm.
we would share writing to each other, and like we write something, and the next day goes, and we had a sleepover, and we would write it, and then we each read each other's things.
Yeah.
And we're like 8, 9 years old, and she and I, Christina, we watched this movie, Don't
Mhm.
Be Afraid of the Dark. Now, this is the 70s one, not the redone one, with
Oh, okay.
CGI, but
Yeah.
70s. And for the time, and if you're 8 to 10 years old, it was creepy as hell.
Mhm.
Very creepy. And I
Yeah.
have a copy of it. And that movie, we decided we'd write our own version of it and then scare each other with it. And we did it.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a beginning. That was the
Mhm.
beginning. So there's two things there that kind of started me very early in writing. And then I got a hold of Stephen King, Carrie,
Yeah.
Cujo, reading things I shouldn't be reading at a young age, changed
Yeah.
my world. And I can't forget Tolkien, Lord of the
Oh,
Rings.
yeah. No, we all
Lord
love
of the Rings.
Tolkien. We all love
I know,
Tolkien.
I know you're on board there too. You must
Yeah.
be.
Oh, yeah.
I should tell the audience too. We ran into each other. This is really weird how we reconvened our friendship here. We both were at Mothman
Yeah.
Festival, and there you were at our table hanging out with Christine,
Yeah.
and Denise was with me too. And you were like just hanging out there. It's just so funny, but how things come
Yeah.
around.
So I was
And
like, that's David.
here we
Yeah.
are
Yeah, here
yet
we
again.
are again. Absolutely. So, yeah, but it's always, kind of get back to like what you were saying. It's always interesting how just stuff that used to just really scare the crap out of you as a kid, when you go
Yeah,
back and watch it, you're like, okay, yeah, that's kind of cheesy and cool. I mean, it has some nostalgic charm to it,
yeah.
but yeah, but it's just kind of like wow, this scared the crap out of me as a kid, and now I'm just kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, that's the thing now. Now, real visceral terror. The movie Jaws. I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it in '77 in the theater with my grandfather and my mom and
Okay.
dad, and that was an experience. And here's the thing about Jaws.
Mhm.
Red Bank, New Jersey. There's a book called 12 Days of Terror. I have it downstairs. The
Yeah.
author escapes me. It really happened, not like it did in Jaws, but four
Mhm.
people were killed and two maimed by a shark in
Right.
Red Bank, New Jersey. And it did swim up a creek and kill two people, a kid that dove into the water
Yeah.
and then a gentleman that dove in to save him.
Yeah.
Horrific stories,
Yeah.
like real horror happens. And
Yeah.
when it does, then it's kind of like, then these become tales of caution, and like we should
Mhm.
probably learn something from this,
Yeah.
like when you pull over on the side of the road, maybe look outside your car
Yeah.
first, before that lizard man comes running across the lake at you,
Yeah.
just take a gander. Right now it's humans we got to worry
Oh,
about.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But
you
no,
know
but
it.
I mean, because, we were even talking about it on your podcast and everything about how, you know, a lot of horror can, definitely serve as cautionary tales. In fact,
Yes.
since you're writing a fairy tale, the
Yes.
first Grimm's fairy tales, they were actually for adults. Like they were actually not meant for kids to read. They were meant as cautionary tales for
I,
adults. And oh, you're going to go grab something.
right here.
There you go.
It's a
Yeah.
nice adaptation. My friend Becky gave me that. Yeah, isn't that
Nice.
nice?
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful book. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful addition.
So I
Yeah, but
definitely understand what you're saying.
yeah, and that's the thing, of course later on they became like kind of Disneyized and everything, but yeah, but the very first Grimm's fairy tales, you read them, it's just, I mean, some of them are pretty messed up. Um,
Very.
yeah, and it's, but that's the thing. It's like, you know, they were cautionary tales, and like you said, like, hey, if you pull your car over on the side of the road, maybe like, yeah, just keep a lookout, outside or anything like that, whether it's like the Mothman or whether it's like a
Yeah,
human. um
indeed.
yeah, yeah.
That's well, on that note, I guess I should tell you, like, this is important because we did kind of get started with when I was okay. I guess I'll go with beginnings.
Hmm.
I started out with a guy named John Towers was doing a comic book and he wanted a writer, and
Hmm.
not that he couldn't write himself, he wanted to work with somebody, and we did a 4 issue limited series of zombie books, World Zombie Wrestling Association,
Hmm.
silly but fun.
Yeah.
Now he introduced me to these guys here
Okay.
at Burning Ball Publishing, and I got into the Big Book of
Oh, okay.
Bizarro because they needed one more story.
Yeah.
So I put in my story, and the first one that leads off this Big Book of Bizarro is The Fall of Tomorrow.
Hmm.
Short story. It was only a couple, like a handful of pages. And
Right.
Gary Vincent of Burning Bulb said, "Hey, can you develop a book?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I can." And then he said, after that, and he liked The Fall of Tomorrow, he's like, "Can you do some short stories?" Well, The Fall of Tomorrow, I'm a
Yeah.
prop comic, The Fall of Tomorrow was
There you go.
followed by Dwelling in the Dark, which I actually like this
Oh,
one better
okay.
because when I was able to write. It's not necessarily a sequel, but they go together.
Okay.
And this is before, during, and after the fall. This one here, short stories again.
Oh.
This borderlines horror, science fiction, and
Mhm.
every story is very different. But if you like your monsters like I do,
Yeah.
here. And there's people monsters too, but I'm bigger on monsters.
Yeah.
But
What's your favorite monster?
I love werewolves.
Okay.
I love werewolves, but I really, really, really like when somebody creates an original monster.
Mhm.
Movies like Alien back in the day.
Mhm.
So I have some strange ones too. The Beast Within is a
Mhm.
favorite, which is basically a guy turning into a cicada.
Yeah.
But then suspense. Now I like my monsters, but the Blob. I like every variation
Okay.
of the Blob. I
Yeah.
really do. I can't wait to see what they do with it again. I know it's changed hands several times.
Mhm.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, always a
Okay.
favorite. Day of
Mhm.
the Triffids, always a favorite. I
Yeah.
love my H.G. Wells stuff. I love my Romero stuff too. But what I really, really, what helped me write,
Mhm.
including a lot of dark music, the 70s and 80s, mostly 70s,
Mhm.
have ambient soundtracks and even if the movie
Oh,
sucked,
yeah.
the soundtrack was good, and the
Mhm.
scenery was better.
Yeah.
Like they could, I mean, anything in the 70s, even if they didn't know what they were doing, the angles, the fog, the lakes, whatever, wherever they go, the woods,
Yeah.
everything, it was still creepy, even if the movie sucked.
Mhm.
Now, a movie I really like that nobody likes except me, I may have met a few here and there,
Uh-huh.
that's atmospheric terror that really helped me write. Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Okay.
That's a movie from the 70s, and
Okay.
if you either know it or you don't.
Yeah, I've heard
But
of it. I've not seen it though. So I'll have to check that out
atmosphere.
then, you know?
It's one of those like everybody's against me type of thing, and it's atmospheric out in the middle of nowhere, and you
Okay.
don't know who to trust. And
Yeah.
I always like that. And you were there with me at Mothman. I love when there's this impending figure somewhere in the background pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And to me, a movie theater is the perfect setting, like Demons,
Okay.
Argento's Demons.
Mhm.
And then you turn that up a notch recently with Udo Kier, Theater Bizarre. Did you
Okay.
watch that?
Theater Bazaar, I've seen that. Yeah. Mhm.
That's a good one, and that's perfect. Where again, literally somebody pulling the strings, and you're in this theater, you're watching these movies, and somehow it's coming off the screen at you,
Mhm.
and who's in the theater with us, there's
Yeah.
something else going on here. Big Brother's watching, but it could be Big Brother werewolf. We don't know.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
We
yeah.
don't know who's
Yeah,
watching.
so Let's Scare Jessica. I'll have to check that out because I haven't
Yeah.
seen that. So, yeah, but sounds interesting. You said everybody that you know hates it but you.
I have no. They don't hate it. They either don't know it, and like my co-host Sean at the time, I made him watch it. He's like, I don't like it. Some people, it hits people just like some people are, well, deadheads, and other people don't get it.
Mhm.
It's just like that. That movie
Yeah.
is like that.
Okay.
You will get it or you don't. Halloween 3 is like that.
Yeah,
People love it
I
or
love
they hate it.
Halloween 3.
I love
I
it.
love
I have a
Halloween 3.
poster right here. I would love to
Woo!
show you, but
Yeah.
yeah, I actually, this was given to me, but
Let's
yeah, can you
see.
see that?
Oh, yeah, look at
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Woo!
Prop comic, anyway,
Love
prop
it.
writer, whatever that means.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love Halloween 3. I actually think it's a really it's a it's a cool story.
It is
It's just and it's actually I mean, obviously some parts of it are kind of dated and everything,
hokey.
but
Yeah, it's hokey.
but overall,
Yeah,
I mean, for its time, it's actually pretty well done.
yeah.
And I
People
mean,
just wanted Michael Myers the whole way, and
yeah, I
well, they wanted to take a twist, and it didn't work, but it worked for me. Just call it Season of the Witch. Don't call it Halloween 3.
yeah, just Season of the Witch. Yeah,
See,
because
I'm doing it again. I'm rewriting.
there you go. Yeah, because I know yeah, the story is they originally were going to have like Halloween just be like an anthology that they were going to release like a new short story like every
Correct.
year. And
Yes.
yeah, but that didn't
Think you
quite work
lost me.
out. Yeah, because everybody wanted Michael Myers and that's how the whole, Halloween like thing became a franchise and Michael Myers became a franchise.
Yes.
But yeah, but I like Season of the Witch, you know. But yeah, people either like it or they're just like, I don't get it. Like, you know, where's Michael Myers? You know.
Right. Yeah. I don't get that either.
All right. Okay, we're back. We had a little bit of a technical thing, but we're going to continue where we left off. Such is the fun part of podcasting. Sometimes you never know what's going
Indeed.
to happen. So,
I'm going to say this now, I guess 17 years of podcasting, 333 episodes. You're number 334 actually.
woo!
And you're number 1.
All
But
right.
that's pretty funny. No matter what, every episode you're going to have some kind of glitch. There's always
Mhm.
some change. Technology changes on you like that.
Oh, yeah.
Every time. It's
Mhm.
from the onset. And one of the funny key things of my show is I always screw up somebody's name or the name of something in the beginning of the show, usually because my eyes are looking at the screen doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what is that pop up? Why is it doing that? And yeah, technology is our friend. I mean, granted, we're able to do this, but it's
Mhm.
also really not our friend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking Season of the Witch.
Yes.
Um, in later years, Mothman prophecies definitely influenced me
Mhm.
greatly. Just that whole, something's watching, controlling everything around you,
Yeah.
and you can't control any of it, and you don't even know what it is. And we're like ants to these things.
Right.
And it's a frightening way to look at things. But yeah, let's see. I said The Howling is a good one. Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I gave you that one.
Mhm.
I always love my werewolves. I loved The Howling is definitely up there as one of my favorites of all time. The director's cut.
Uh-huh.
Um, I love that one. And I mean, I like 50s sci-fi drive-in movies too. The
Oh,
classics.
yeah.
What's Van
Those
Gouldy
are
shows.
fun. Yeah.
They're fun because there's room to develop ideas.
Yeah.
Like these are, to me, they're all undeveloped ideas because they didn't have the special effects they needed.
Mhm.
So you look at those things, you look where they're going, and maybe I'd love to see a remake of It Came from Outer Space, or
Yeah.
something up to date. And I always found Close Encounters of the Third Kind to be a terrifying movie because it's
Mhm.
almost like a documentary. It's so well
Yeah.
made.
Mhm.
It's like I think that's a great film. But
Yeah.
yeah. So but yeah, I should say, when I got my start with the writing, the thing happened it literally happened overnight. And one of the opportunities I got working with Burning Bulb Publishing and going to the Living Dead weekend, which I
Yeah.
think you've been to, out
Mhm.
in Evans City. And that's where I met Bob and
Okay,
Jess,
yeah.
and Kevin Christ. And I thank him for giving me all the convention table space through the years.
Yeah.
But I also
Aw.
met John Russo. John Russo, who we know
Mhm.
involved, he wrote with Romero the original Night of the Living Dead,
Yeah.
as well as Return of the Living Dead. And
Uh-huh.
one of the things that they did was he wrote an anthology. He
Mhm.
had a bunch of people write how they thought the zombies came to life, the real beginning to Night of the Living Dead.
Mhm.
And that was I don't think this is available anymore, but this Rise of the Dead is the book. And
Oh, yeah.
my story got in here along.
Uh-huh.
So I'm in a book with John Russo. So that was like
Nice.
my claim to fame. I
Yeah.
pride that more than, and John is just a great guy. You've met
Yeah.
him by now,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah. Well, I was actually, because Gary Vincent of Burning
Yeah.
Bull Publishing, he did like a remake reboot of John Russo's Midnight, and I played the role
Yes.
of Gwendolyn. So yeah.
There you go. That's so awesome. I saw that. I didn't see the film yet, but I saw the making of, and I saw all the behind the scenes. And you guys, I was like, how was your experience with that? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. A lot of
So
fun.
we were both directed by John Russo
I
too, because
know.
I got into, my Uncle John is a zombie. I got into that one.
Woo, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I had a great experience, and it was fun working with Gary and everything. And yeah, I mean, and everybody on that set was really, really everybody was really nice. It was,
Yes.
I mean, obviously they kind of had to run a bit of a tight ship because
Yeah.
time is money, especially in those,
Yeah.
productions. But I mean, like they ran a tight ship, but it was very professional. very very nice.
Mhm.
It was a really good experience. Yeah.
They're always respectful. It's fun. It's a fun experience. It can be grueling, like all filmmaking.
Oh yeah.
We've between the two of us, we've probably been in a few.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I think I've died in every one of them, but yeah, it's been fun.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, spoiler alert, I die in midnight, so yeah.
I know your character. Yeah, I know your character. Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no,
A
it
lot of
was
fun.
really a lot of fun, but
And I'm glad that came up here. We didn't talk about it.
uh-huh.
On our when you were with me on my show, I didn't bring that up. My fault.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But no, you mentioned John Russo and I was like, "Oh, I was in his the remake of Midnight." So, yeah.
Yes. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but with Kettle Whistle Radio, and I do want to talk about that because
Yeah.
Kettle Whistle Radio, like I always wanted to get into broadcasting too. I went to school for writing, journalism,
Mhm.
and broadcasting. I learned everything, and all that stuff in the '90s was out of date by the time I graduated.
Okay, yeah.
So I had to relearn everything,
Mhm.
and Kettle Whistle Radio, meeting the people I met, like like-minded people like yourself,
Yeah.
and meeting basically I have curated my own music collection now too,
Mhm.
because now I get to meet the artists, I get to know what's behind the songs, I
Yeah.
get the music. I miss going to stores, and I still, if there's a store, I'll go buy my music, just like I just
Mhm.
bought my buddy's Painted Vein CD right here.
Yeah.
I still buy CDs, I get them sent to me too, I get free stuff sent to me all the time.
Uh-huh.
I make sure I give back though.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, though, now I have, like, my music collection is my show too. There's a lot of
Mhm.
good music that's come through there,
Yeah.
and it's been eye opening. And when you meet the people, you have that memory. It's almost like, I have vinyl on a shelf, but now I have people I could talk to
Yeah.
about, if I have a question about a song,
Mhm.
even your stuff, which is
Yeah.
kind of, oh, we have to reel that back a little bit,
Uh-huh.
because we're on my show, we're playing an instrumental of something you actually sing on, because
Yeah.
you sent me the instrumental. So
I
that
act
means
I did that by accident.
that's okay. The following episode, I'll play the other. So I like when the episodes bleed into each other.
Okay.
I like it to be one long story, and that's just how I do things.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Yeah.
works out.
That was just I just thought that was so funny when I was like, I sent you the instrumental by accident. I realized it like on the air and I was just like, oh man. But you got to play the
That's
other
okay.
two songs and hey, if you wanna,
Yeah,
use the instrumental for something, that's perfectly
absolutely.
fine.
It's going to
So
be on the episode that follows it, or the one after that, just so I can once again, bring you back, another
yeah,
shout out back to you. And I like that. We recap old episodes, or we bring people back, and
absolutely.
it's an ongoing story, and it just the way it is. What can I tell
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
And
No.
Kettle Whistle Radio, folks, Spotify and iHeart
Yes,
Radio, you can
yes,
get
go
it there.
listen to Kettle Whistle Radio. Yeah, no, because I enjoy talking to people and I do some, some solo episodes and stuff because sometimes there's just something that, oh, hey, I'd like to talk about that, just
Yes.
me and everything. But I also love like, having people on and I love talking to people. I love, hearing about their creative process as well as like their life experience. And since this is also kind of like a paranormal, um, themed show as well. Sometimes I will ask, and I might ask you too, have you had any paranormal experiences or any experiences
Yeah.
with like cryptids or anything like that?
Cryptids, I'd have to say no. I wish
Mhm.
I did. I've heard some things, and recently, and when I say the company I'm into, people wouldn't believe me. And I recently I was in a cabin up at the summit, out going towards Ligonier, out that way,
Oh
towards the
yeah, I
middle of
performed out in
Pennsylvania. Not
Ligonier.
really.
Yeah.
It's you're in Sasquatch company,
Yeah.
country, I should say, but company, I don't know. I worked out in Marionville and did that thing too, which was fantastic. That show at Sasquatch Fest, but
Mhm.
recently I heard, we're in Sasquatch country, and I was out at night. Of course, I'm at a cabin in the woods. Heather Taddy and friends are there, and they're, paranormally yours, basically. They're all, she's all into it. Everybody's aware. And that's the first time I heard a howl. I was out in the back. There's a hot tub.
Oh,
I was out in the back by myself, and I heard this out in the woods. Of
yeah.
course, I go get her, a
Uh-huh.
paranormal expert, and nothing happens. But she did hear it later on. That's the closest I came to. It was definitely a weird howl. Like
Yeah.
I can't explain. It could be anything. It could have been coyote. They said coyotes. I know what a coyote sounds like. It wasn't that.
It wasn't a
Could have been a
coyote.
fisher. A fisher is possible. But
Uh-huh.
now, as far as ghosts, I never really believed. Always wanted to see, and then I did have a few things happen to me,
Yeah.
and they were, not romantic. They weren't horrifying. They weren't much to tell. But I don't know. Do you want to hear one or?
Sure. Hey. Yeah.
It's this happened in Altoona actually,
Okay.
and this is one that I've had feelings in places, but I'm not really an empath when it comes to feeling
Okay.
ghosts. But I'm
Mhm.
around people that do, and they shut it off. But I was sleeping in a basement in Altoona. My wife was with me, and we're on couches, fold out couches, in a
Yeah.
bed, and we're sleeping down at my cousin's house. And I had long hair at the time, and I think I told this story actually recently. And
Mhm.
I kept feeling hairs come across my face, and I kept going like this during the course of the night. I'm constantly doing this at night, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, this is annoying. And if you ever camped, like you thinking bugs, and you're half asleep,
Yeah.
and I'm not, and it ends up I am brushing my own hair, but something keeps putting my hair on my face. There's no
Right.
animals; they don't have animals.
Yeah.
And I woke up at one point. I looked up and I saw there was like this blue silhouette of a figure of elderly man, and it was
Ooh.
just kind of there. But I thought I was dreaming.
Uh-huh.
I thought I was dreaming. I didn't think I was really seeing that.
Yeah.
And I went back to sleep. And I woke up later on, and there was a computer down there, an old school Commodore type computer, and the screen was flashing,
Oh,
a
wow.
green flash, like a screensaver. You'd think
Uh-huh.
it wasn't plugged in. It wasn't plugged in. And
Oh.
I didn't know that because I went back to sleep. The
Yeah.
next morning, my cousin told me, "Yeah, that thing's not worked in a long time."
Right.
And no, my house isn't haunted. But no, they. But when I'm driving back home that day with my wife and the court Denise, and
Yeah.
I said to her what happened, and she's like, I looked over and I saw something too. She saw a silhouette of something too, and
Oh,
she didn't want to
wow.
tell me. We found out by talking together in the car. It wasn't like a holy shit moment. It was kind of like just in passing, hey, this happened. Oh, it happened to me too. Those are the stories you believe,
Yeah. Yeah.
when it just happened, and it wasn't anything crazy. um but that book that you have in your hands there, Dead Memories,
Uh-huh.
that's not the feel good book of the year. It
Right.
was me taking my life back,
Mhm.
in chapter 6 for sure. The rest
Yeah.
of it there's a lot of stories there. Like I said, 4 based on truth, 2 are absolutely true. A
Mhm.
lot of human drama there, and a lot of feelings. It was cathartic, and I got my life back writing that book.
Nice.
And it was very important, very personal to me,
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing how like art can do that and creating art can do that. And the thing is too, you know, not only was it cathartic for you, but it also might be inspiring to somebody else, you know?
I hope so. I hope so. And let them know that they're not alone. When you
Yeah.
get to the certain stories, and it's not all about depression. It's not about suicide either. It's
Right.
things that happen that put us in a place, and do we succumb to it, or do
Mhm.
we overcome it? Now, obviously that's a horror collection, so not everybody overcomes things.
Right.
And there's monsters, there witches throughout the whole thing that
Mhm.
are kind of coordinating things.
Yeah.
I've known a few. I think you have too. You're a practicing Wiccan, right?
Yeah, I do like yeah, I'm spiritual and everything, and I do have a lot of beliefs in like ancient wisdom and all of that stuff. I don't really label myself, I don't label myself as anything.
Right.
But yeah, but I guess if somebody had to define what I am, that, sometimes like that's like the easiest way to define it. But, but I'm just generally, I'm spiritual, and I've had experiences, and I've like I said, I'm very much into you know just showing reverence to the ancestors and the ancients, and drawing from their wisdom, and
Mm.
and also just working with nature, working with
Yeah.
nature instead of against it, just kind of like how I told you in your
Yes.
on your show, just working with nature instead of against it, because
Yes.
you know we've become so accustomed to basically working against nature. And I was even I had Susanna Sprague on the show, and I was
Yeah.
in Midnight Massacre with her, and she's a fitness competitor. She's done like Playboy reality TV and all that stuff, and she and I were talking about some pretty deep stuff. Like the episode got deep, but
I can't wait to hear that one. I didn't get to hear it yet. I haven't had time. I really want to
yes,
though.
yes, but we were talking about how the current calendar, the Gregorian calendar that we're in right now, is actually not the correct calendar, and it was put in place to actually encourage industrialism, to also encourage also it was related to like the taxes and all that stuff, tax season. So it
Oh
was
boy.
more to benefit like the powers that be than the people. Now for centuries before that, humanity actually ran on a 13-month calendar, which was prior to the Gregorian calendar. It was the Julian calendar. And 13 is the number of the goddess, you know and so that is, and Friday the 13th is actually, a kind of like a goddess day, because
Hmm.
13 being the number of the goddess, and Friday being the day of like goddess Freya and Frigg, which are, they're the goddesses of like fertility, creativity,
Hmm.
um all the things that like the divine feminine is basically. And Susanna and I were kind of getting into about how, you know, when the powers that be came in, and like the structures kind of took down all of the ancient wisdom. And then, they went from the 13-month calendar, which was the number of the goddess, and all of those months were 28 days long.
Oh wow.
Which, yeah, which
February.
if you, a little maybe TMI here, but like that's actually 28 days is like the days of like a woman's cycle, basically.
Yeah. I picked up on
So,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it was basically, it was more of like a lunar, like a moon favored calendar. And
Hmm.
it favored like the cycle of women, because women were actually, they were the oracles, they were, a lot of like the
Yeah.
priestesses. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and but then like that all changed, and they brought in like the more like
Hmm.
patriarchal system. And and that's not to demonize men or anything like that.
No.
It's to say that there was once a system where the feminine and the masculine all worked together. They brought their strengths to the table. It wasn't like, oh, I'm higher than you. And, and hopefully, like, with
Yeah.
everything that's going on, maybe, eventually we'll kind of start to see that balance again, as things kind of start to fall apart and fall and everything. Like, maybe that will make people like, maybe take a look at themselves and be like, okay, yeah, what we had wasn't working. We need
You
something
said
that's
it there.
balanced. Yeah.
People need to take a look at themselves. That's a big one, and that's a difficult one. That's a difficult task. You know what? While you were at the Mothman at the table,
Hmm.
actually, a woman took me to task, sorta. Um, I already knew this, but one of my characters that you're in that Dead Memories, who actually shows
Hmm.
up later, does the afterward. And he has his own abbreviated BT because he does things as being there, not by.
Yeah.
But because he's arrogant, but
Hmm.
he calls himself many things, but he's been vampires, werewolves. He's practiced all kinds of undead things, including being a warlock.
Hmm.
Now, from what I was told, and I've actually kind of, that there are no warlocks, they're all witches.
Right.
Now, warlock is what? Is that just a name brought up by Hollywood? Where does that come from? D&D? Is it
Yeah, I
Celtic?
mean, it's it's a way people kind of differentiate like female witches versus male witches.
It's just a moniker,
It's just a
nothing.
moniker, really.
Yeah.
You know,
She bought my book, but she's like, they're all witches. There's no warlocks. I'm like, I know. All right, take it easy, lady. Jeez.
but
You
the
know, here's
thing is, though, when you're writing for the general public who may not know that and they may not
right.
know to differentiate, sometimes it is okay to use,
Certain things.
terms like that just to
Yeah.
differentiate that from
It's
people.
fiction, you know? It's
Exactly.
fiction.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's some real. I use real people to a degree. I don't. My
Mhm.
characters are mostly made up, but there's some things that happen that I think, wow, that's stranger than fiction. I'm using that, and
Mhm.
you know, I won't use people's names or anything
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, some things. There's a lot of realism. There's a lot of stuff happening. That's why I called it dead memories. There's a lot of things
Mhm.
that were real. Each of
Yeah.
those stories has some realism and real people I knew
Yeah.
or an instance or even just like something that happened.
Mhm.
Um, but like the character, what I'm developing is the idea. Like I said, I'm trying to get back to Worlds Apart, which is the fantasy novel that I
Mhm.
want to get to. I'm striving to get to my first book.
Right.
It's kind of like I'm pulling a Lucas, but I'm not because it's
Mhm.
going to be better than what they did. But that's I
Oh
shouldn't say.
man.
I'm a Star Wars fan. I just don't like what they did to him.
Right.
Anyway, but anyway, that's being said. So I'm trying to work my way to this fantasy novel, which will be the end to everything that
Yeah.
I like, my end game thing. But a
Uh-huh.
story nonetheless. So I'm building from now to the then, but the then might actually be throwing back to the sci-fi fantasy days, like
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
a whole D&D campaign that I did and wrote it down, and it was amazing. And everybody does that now. That's what Critical Role does with the Vox Machina, the
Mhm.
Legend of Vox Machina or the Mighty Nine. I don't know if you're watching any of those,
Yeah.
but I like my anime too. But yeah, I'm a big D&D guy, so
Uh-huh.
that's what I'm working my way to that. But what I got coming up this summer, okay, is this novella, Tiffany, that I'm gonna make sure you get a copy of it.
Yeah.
It's only 100 pages, won't set you back too much, but no sex, drugs, and rock and roll in this one, and no swearing. It's going to be about fairies and two fairies in particular watching over a certain domain in this
Oh.
vicinity and making sure, basically acting as referees between the damned and us, and
Yeah.
they're in between. And it could very much be Tolkien-esque, but
Mhm.
it's taking place now, and it's a nice little midsection from contemporary to where I'm going into the fantasy world that I
Mhm.
used to go to,
Yeah.
and it's a doorway. And after that, I've been working on the same book for 15 years called Charlie: A Child's Tale of Terror, which is a
Okay.
contemporary horror that's getting back into sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Um, yeah, and that is definitely monsters, and I'm just gonna leave it at that until it comes out. It's gonna be a summer monster romp.
Oh, there you
So
go.
yeah,
Hey, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, well, I look forward to, especially like the fairy book. I look forward to
that's for you. You would
look
definitely
forward
like
to
that. I'm
that.
gonna make sure you get a copy. And I've got a great artist, man, Bob Hoagland, who does all our stuff. Wait,
Ooh, okay.
this is Bob, Dr. Peeler. This is our comic book.
Oh, wow,
Doc,
I love it.
Dr. Peeler, demon psychiatrist. We came
Yeah.
we came up with this
Uh-huh.
at the Living Dead weekend, where I was
Yeah.
working with he and his daughter Jess. We all
Huh.
worked a table together, and all of us had bad therapy. And we're like, what if there was a demon psychiatrist using you and sucking your bad ideas and using
Yeah.
all that energy for his own means? And basically, that's kind of what bad psychiatrists do,
Yeah.
or psychologists, or therapists, whatever, social workers, if they're bad.
Mhm.
They're not all bad. We just happen to have a lot of bad ones.
Right.
And that's why this guy, Dr. Peeler, came into existence. Issue 2 is about 2
Yeah.
pages away from being finished. We should have it this summer.
Mhm.
I know I've been saying it for a while, but we've got a lot going on.
Yeah. No, I hear that now. But yeah, but that's like, something that I'm doing like right now is kind of like getting to like the projects that have been kind of like sitting in my hat for a while, but
Good.
but I'm just like, okay, I'm ready to do them. It's time,
It's time. I like to hear
Yeah,
that.
my
It's
web
time. Does
series
that
being one
with
of them.
you,
So,
Tiffany? Does that mean singing for you, or are you talking about the writing?
oh, yeah, writing as well as like my web series and
Oh yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
and kind of like all of the above too, just doing just kind of getting, finishing writing the new album and everything. And yeah, and then even like, there's, a couple other musical endeavors I want to do, and just some stuff with like, writing and film and all of that. So yeah.
You got a lot. I'm glad, man. This is a huge resurgence for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't realize you had. You should have said something at Mothman, because you were pretty quiet there, but it was so crowded. I mean,
Yeah.
if we went to talk to each other, then more people came to the table. So it's just,
Hmm.
you should work that one.
Oh yeah, the Mothman. I was thinking about that.
You should do it. You
I
and
was
Christine.
thinking about that. Yeah, I'll have to look, definitely. I mean, it's early enough in the year where I can like look into it, and
100%.
yeah, 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 I think that would be fun because, you know, well, the thing is, it's like, and I think I mentioned this when I was on your show. I'm going back to Point Pleasant at some point in the spring, you know,
Ah,
not
yeah.
during festival time, so that I can actually I mean, I had a great time at the festival,
Yeah.
but, but it was one of those things where, because there was so much
Yes.
around, you couldn't really get the full ambiance of it.
You could
And
not.
there was like a line like 20 million hours long,
Oh,
getting into
forget
the
it. Yeah.
Mothman Museum. So
Forget about it. Yeah, you got to
yeah,
go back when you have time to do it, because there's the tour, and then there's the town and the history. You would like the
yeah,
history. It's rich in
oh
history,
yeah,
and the
hmm,
people are all very nice there. There are
yeah,
so many nice people there. That's why I did like going back there. That's a nice one. I really dig that one. Of course, Gross Fest's coming up. We always work that one.
okay,
Coming up. That's in August. It's not coming up yet, but we go every year. That's when we always do.
okay.
Um, yeah. Have you done any shows lately?
Well, I mean, I've performed, like I've done
Yeah.
like, performing gigs and everything. But like I'm getting back into the convention circuit, just because like I've missed it.
Yeah. I
Missed
understand.
it. And this has been like these last three, like 2024 year of the dragon, 2025 year of the snake, and now we're going into on February 17th year of the fire horse. It's really been like last good couple of years of just complete realignment for me, you
Mm.
know, because and I got into a little bit of this on the episode with Susanna Sprague, because she and I were talking about, you know, not being, kind of like trying to do things that weren't quite in alignment with, our, your gifts and talents and everything, because, for whatever reason you think, oh, I need to go this way instead. And, and it took, having an ankle injury in 2024 to kind of get me back you know, into realignment, both literally and figuratively speaking,
That's what
So
makes you hungry. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, but it was but it's one of those things, and Susanna and I were talking about how it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, I don't know how spiritual you are, but like if it's like, like whether it's like God, the universe, spirit guides, guardian angels, whatever, it's like they'll give you like kind of gentle probes and be like, hey, this isn't where you're supposed to be. But then as humans, we're stubborn and we don't listen,
I
and
believe in that. I believe in that.
and then
I've had some. You said you actually, when you talk about experiences, I've had more things like that happen, where I
uh-huh.
randomly thought about somebody that I haven't thought of in 20 years,
Hmm.
and suddenly I pull a card right next to me. It happened. I pulled a card out.
Yeah.
Of somebody that had passed,
Uh-huh.
and I had been thinking of her, and it was just the timing
Yeah.
was unreal.
Right.
Um, the other day, I had a great uncle that passed,
Mhm.
Johnny, who passed recently, and that morning I didn't know he passed, but I used Old Spice aftershave that morning, and I never do. It's
Yeah.
my grandfather used it, my dad, my uncles, everybody smelled like Old Spice, so I don't use it.
Mhm.
Well, I used it that morning, and that was the morning he passed. And my cousin hit me up, and he's like, "Hey, Johnny passed." I was like, "You're not gonna believe this."
Yeah.
Just little things like that. It's coincidence,
Yeah.
maybe, but
Yeah.
is it? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like, it's kind of like how like they'll give you these little gentle pushes saying this
Yes.
isn't where you're supposed to be, but of course we don't listen. And then finally they're like, okay, now I'm really just going to take you out of it. And then it's like,
Yeah.
what happened to me, which is I have an ankle injury or something. And then I'm kind of, because you have a lot of time to like think about things when you're like laid up and
Ah,
everything.
yes. Yes.
Yeah. And, but sorry, I need water. But like
Go for it.
to me, like though that was kind of like it was like the beginning of the end of something, but it was also the beginning of, me like getting back to myself in a way, and just getting realignment, just realigned with, okay, you know what, this is where my strengths are, my gifts are, my talents are, and everything, you know, why yeah, so and I hadn't realized just how much, I had just not, I mean,
Yeah.
I had still been doing stuff. I mean, I'd still been like performing and like doing music and everything, but I wasn't doing it to, I think, like the fullest potential, I guess is the word. Like, I guess to the full extent that that I could have been,
I
or
understand.
that, as, somebody with my own like blueprint, soul blueprint, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
could have, I wasn't, utilizing, you know, my, any of my talents like the way I feel at least I should have been.
Totally understand. It sounds like we're bouncing back around the same time.
Hmm.
I did it about a year and a half ago. I came back strong with that book, and
Yeah.
but yeah, it influenced me in many other ways. It lit the show up again.
Yeah.
And one thing I pride myself on with Kettle Whistle Radio,
Hmm.
and I this guy I just had on. I'll use him as an example. Painted Vein is the band.
Okay. Yeah.
His name is Andre Volpato. He's
Okay.
Italian, living in Seattle,
Yeah.
and he was lovely. You could listen to that right now. It's going to be the one right before your episode.
Oh,
Yours is
okay.
not up yet, but it will be.
Uh-huh.
His is the last episode 333, and he says it to Jess and I. He's like, "Oh, this isn't like an interview. This is like more of just a hang." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." That's what we do.
Uh-huh.
I've always done that. Sometimes it's in the studio. We're going to be doing it in studio with a band in about 2 weeks.
Ooh.
We used to do it all the time. We used to freaking have parties. This is Helm's Deep headquarters right here. I had all of Grossfest guys in here. There were four of them and me and a 30-pack of Paps. That thing was gone by the end of the episode, and we were
Oh
lit.
man.
I'm pretty sure that people could hear it because we did it really fast. I
Uh-huh.
mean, Paps isn't going to do it with five guys, but it did that day
It did.
because we did it within 45 minutes and recorded the whole thing. But we're talking
Yeah.
about their crazy ass movies,
Hmm.
and Tim Gross and
Oh
Tom.
yeah.
I mean, they're just hilarious guys.
Hmm.
But we used to yeah, we had some parties on air, quite a few. But when we get a band on, and you guys musicians, you're always working. Very
Hmm.
hard to get a hold of time wise because you're always working. And
Yeah.
weekends, you're doing shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to get a hold of them. When you do, they might be in a party mode right then and there. So it's like you got to jump in, or hopefully in most cases they're just kind of chill and want to talk because they're away from the bar and the bands and everything
Hmm.
else. But we make it chill and we get into it. And sometimes we just talk about other things, books and movies. We don't even
Yeah.
talk about the music that much.
Hmm.
But yeah, give Kettle Whistle Radio a shot, folks, if you haven't already. You might like it.
Absolutely.
You might end up on it too if you're
You
an
might,
artist.
yeah, if you're an artist, hey, reach out,
Heck
reach out.
yeah, man. We have a good
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. So, yeah, but it's it's always, it's always great fun just, just hanging and talking and,
Yes.
and that's kind of how I want I aim for, with my own, my own show is to have it kind of like a conversation. I mean, yeah, I might send you some questions as like a framework just to like maybe get the
Yeah.
juices flowing of what you want to talk about.
Yes.
But it's not like, okay, it has to be that regimented, like if the conversation goes in
Oh
another
yeah.
direction, totally, like, we can
And
go
they
with it,
do.
you know?
They really, really, really do. I'm going to recommend a show and somebody for you. I'm going to get you
Okay.
on another, if you're interested.
Yeah.
This guy does a show called The Real Show with Nathaniel.
Okay.
And I got my friend on there, Chris Carbone, who is a sound engineer
Yeah.
extraordinaire. And it really helped him. It
Mhm.
helped him find a label, I believe. And he's really moving forward. I'm going to get you on that. Nathaniel does a
Yeah.
good show too. You
Thank
meet a
you.
lot of like minded people doing this. I should
Yeah.
introduce you to him. I'll do that because the cross pollination,
Yeah.
we meet each other's audiences, people that we
Mhm.
know, other musicians, and it's a the world becomes smaller, but in a good way.
But in a good way.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. You find your people, and I think that that's what it's about,
Yeah.
finding your people, and and a lot of the time, it's better to have that, because the saying, if you try to appeal to everybody, you appeal to nobody, you know
Yeah, you're right.
you know I mean,
That's true.
and I'm not saying that, maybe somebody who's into hardcore mainstream stuff may not also enjoy what we do,
Right.
but at the same time, and when we were kind of talking about like business and marketing and all that stuff, on your show as well, we touched a little bit on that, but like,
Yes.
but that's a big thing though. That's a big part of it, is like just finding out, okay, like who's, basically like who's your people, who's, and
Yes.
that's who you, market it to. That's who you like say, hey, you might like this, give this a try too,
Yes.
and and hey, and then if other people who maybe a little bit unexpected come in and enjoy it, hey, great, but I, hey,
Yes.
if somebody who's a fan of Taylor Swift also likes my stuff, I'm not going to say, hey, no, you can't like it because you like Taylor Swift, but
Yeah. Be careful, man. Those Swifties will come after you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I want to thank some folks real quick too. And when I say thank, I want to thank anyone that's ever bought anything from me at a convention,
yeah.
books, including yourself. There's no better compliment. There's no better
Hmm.
compliment. Even if they just give you a shot. I don't care if you don't finish reading that book. I know there's going to be at least one story in there that you're going to like.
Hmm.
But I just thank people for giving me that shot. It's amazing that somebody's willing to dish out 10, $20 and give me a shot.
Yeah.
I'm a nobody. And
Hmm.
I know I'm a nobody, but I appreciate
Oh,
the
you're not
shot.
a
You know,
nobody.
well, I mean, in most people's world, I mean, if
Aw.
you have a comic convention at your house, I might be the most popular person there. I'm just saying. But no, I want to thank like people that give me that boost. Like there's this woman, Sheila Verone. She comes to my table every year to see, even when I don't have anything new.
Uh-huh.
Then I have like my cousin Chris and my friend Joanne back home,
Uh-huh.
Mezzatesta. They read my first book, like my wife Denise read it,
Yeah.
and my friend Diana, and oh gosh, who else read it? But they read it, and Becky, they read my first book in its earliest,
Mhm.
disgusting. When you read something, you write it and you write real quick, it's a skeleton and you're embarrassed. I won't even read it later,
Yeah.
but it's probably edited 3 times and it's 400 pages. It's a mess.
Right.
But they gave me a chance,
Yeah.
so now I want to give that back and actually re-edit that book and put it out there.
Yes.
you know
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they don't even know it. They're gonna know if they watch this, but they don't know I'm doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, sometimes it's like, you know, I always say, like, even if like something, like an idea you have doesn't quite like translate onto like paper or something like that, I would stay still save it, because you
Yeah,
never know, because there might be an idea, a really good idea that comes out, that does come out of that, like, and it could
you
be
are
like
correct.
even just a sentence from that draft that where you're like, okay,
You are correct. You see
I
this? You see this? All these post-its?
all of your
There's a
post-it
pile.
notes.
There is a pile of post-its sitting right behind you. All these things I write down. Some things I've actually found post-its from like the 90s that I ended up using.
Wow.
because I was like, oh, that's the name I wanted to use, or that's the place I was going to use. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I have packets of things that I've kept, but you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Keep those manuscripts,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
I also learned the hard way. I've done screenplays, and I got taken for a ride once, and then a second time, meaning I wrote something, a screenplay for somebody. That was a year of my life, and I didn't get paid. I knew I wasn't going to get paid.
uh-huh.
I liked the experience of it, and it was cool. And it's cool to have under my belt. It was the
Right.
published author that asked me to do it,
Hmm.
and I did it for her.
Yeah.
And that was a good experience. Then some movie producers, actually, I'm not going to say names or anything else,
Right.
approached me, and I actually had a meeting with them in New York, and they were not going to pay me, and they were going to have me do a lot of work. And you learn to gauge,
Yeah.
how much time do you really want to spend how much of a ride are you going to be
Hmm.
taken for? Do you mind the ride? Are you going to
Right.
learn from it?
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that want to take advantage of you, and
Yeah.
I mean, that hasn't changed. That's never going to change.
No.
So
Well, even that's why, like with my web series, I'm starting it all out myself. Like I'm getting like the framework and the groundwork done like myself. Like the first,
good.
I think 5 episodes is just going to be me, doing everything. And and then after that, it's like, okay, maybe start to trickle some people that I trust in, if that should work out. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to lay the groundwork and the framework myself first, because sometimes it's like at the very beginning of a project when you have like too many cooks in the kitchen,
Oh yeah.
that
Oh, do I know?
yeah, that could be that can turn out like, yeah, not so good with like different opinions and egos and all that stuff. And that
Oh,
way I'm just like,
egos.
okay, no, this is my baby, you know.
Yeah.
If I, say want somebody to, help out with something, then, then hey, or like maybe do a guest spot or something like that. I'm kind of like I'm doing that. I'm kind of doing it slow like that, where it's like, okay, just start with me first, and then maybe trickle some people in, like I said, that I
Sure.
trust,
Yeah.
like if they just want to do a guest spot, one episode, or, whatever,
No,
so.
that's cool. That's how I started. When I interviewed you all those years ago, 13, 15, I forget how long ago it was, but when I interviewed you, it was just me. And I would only have 5 to 10 minute segments, and that got to 20. Now I'm doing an hour and a half shows, and I have several co-hosts to choose from. But there are times, when they're not available, and that's good, because sometimes I just want to do something on my own.
Yeah.
And like you said, the idea came, and this guy suddenly can come on all of a sudden, and
Right.
all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's random Sunday morning, and he's available or she's
Hmm.
available. Like, okay, and it does give you that leeway.
Yeah,
You can work with
absolutely.
other people. I leave it open, and I make
Hmm.
sure, I don't say to the girls, I'm like, hey, I need you I need you now. We got to do it this night. No, I give them 3 dates. If they can't do it, they can't do it.
Yeah.
And and sometimes it's requested. Some bands, will that they liked listening to Erica, or they liked Jess's guitar or her
Yeah.
voice of singing. Like, hey, are they going to be there this time? And
Hmm.
then I make sure that they're present.
Yeah. Oh,
But uh,
absolutely.
and the people I've met, I mean, I really, now 330 some episodes. I've met so many just nice creatives,
Hmm.
willing to give you the time of day and have the conversation, and not always ready to just leave. Like, they want
Right.
to stay on sometimes and talk. And you made
Yeah.
a friend, you
Yeah.
know. It's like sitting at a bar,
Hmm.
the guy next to you, you buy him a beer, and you see talk about the Islanders for 3 hours. It happens
Yeah. Yeah.
naturally.
Absolutely. But yeah, but I think, but but then it's like, because Kettle Whistle Radio, that like that's your baby. You started it, and now, you can have people come in, like different hosts and all that stuff, like come in,
Yeah.
but it's still like your show, it's still
Yes.
like your baby. It's not like, okay, um, I'm not saying that two people starting something together is a bad thing, or three people starting something together is a bad thing, because sometimes that works out really well. But
Yeah.
other times, and I'm sure we've all heard stories about how, oh yeah, when they started out, they were the best of friends, and then egos got in the way and too many cooks in the kitchen, different ideas, and nobody wanting to compromise. And that way,
Yeah.
when you just start it and then you invite people to come in and they're kind of like on your time, on your format,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean, not that you have to be like, this is how it is,
Right.
but at the same time, it's still yours, and
Yes.
and that's kind of how I wanted, like, my my web series, my Lost in a Nightmare web series to be. It's like, this is pretty much like my baby, but I'm, willing to, have people on like in a guest role or,
Sure.
something like that. And, maybe as it grows, have some people like do like crew stuff and everything. But, um, yeah, but but there's something about, yeah, like I said, even when I do my music, like I'm kind of like writing it myself first and like, arranging it myself first and then, getting in like other musicians or a producer or something and saying, "Hey, this is my vision. I'm open to any create, obviously if it's like a music producer, I'm like, I'm open to any, creative suggestions and everything, but overall it's still like my vision basically,
Yes, you keep it
Yeah.
yours. That's yeah. I still. It's funny. I encourage the ladies I always want them. They're set up for their own episodes and things like they do their own things too.
Mhm.
But I really wanted somebody to do a show without me, and I do all the production. Well, not all
Uh-huh.
of it, but well, most of it. And I'd love to see somebody do my show without me there just
Mhm.
once. I used to ask Sean to do that. The Sean years were great too. When I worked with him,
Mhm.
like my heart broke when it was amicable. We're still friends.
Right.
People think, we had spats. Who gives a shit? We're friends.
Right, yeah.
But he, the dude fell in love, man. What can I
Mhm.
tell you? It's
Aw.
a happy ending. He fell in love, moved away, and we're not, we can still do it remotely. He's always welcome back, but
Yeah.
he's moved on, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Because and same with Heather. Girl's
Yeah.
got a career. I can't. Hey, when you're coming out, no. Every now and then when you can do stuff, we do stuff,
Yeah.
and there's always something interesting to talk about, and usually
Oh,
it's music.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I had some great co-hosts in the past. Christine's come on and had been a guest co-host.
Uh-huh.
What's fun, what I was successful as having guest DJs where I'm there and we have a
Oh,
musician come in and pick
yeah.
other bands to play. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Those are fun. So that's where
Uh-huh.
I let the control go away a little bit. I
Mhm.
don't want to control everything. It's not
Right.
natural, it's just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but my next for me is Charlie: A Child's Tale of Terror, and this
Yeah.
book, the novella When the Dark Comes. It's yeah, that's the fairy tale that I'm working on, and it's something
Sweet.
let me ask you this: like, sometimes you're not ready for something, like you have to work your way
Mhm.
to it. Like you could
Yeah.
say, "I'm going to write a fairy tale today," and
Uh-huh.
it'll be garbage, because you're
Right.
making yourself do it. I
Yeah.
work my way into it, and
Mhm.
it's coming so natural that it's going to be a great effing story.
Yeah.
I'm so
Nice.
excited about this project. I don't know why, but I am.
Yeah. That sounds exciting.
I
So
worked my way to it. I had to work myself up to it.
cool. Yeah.
I'm sure
And
it sounds like you're there too. Sounds like you're there too.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, and like where can people like find your work and all of that?
Well, okay. Well, Facebook, I'm there as David J. Fairhead. Spelled like it sounds. If for you not watching, it's Fairhead. F is in Frank. AIRHEAD.
Mhm.
David J. Fairhead. On Facebook, Fairly Dark Productions on Facebook, and also fairlydarkproductions.com is my website.
Okay.
All the episodes of Kettle Whistle Radio there. All the books are there. There's even a video that Erica made of my book, Dwelling in the Dark.
Okay.
Oh no, she did it for the comic book that I did back then, Demon
Oh,
Eye. You'll see it.
okay.
There's a really cool video on there.
Yeah.
She did do one for Dwelling in the Dark. It's not on the site, but
Mhm.
Spotify and iHeart Radio for Kettle Whistle Radio,
Okay.
and find me, oh yeah, I should say Instagram,
Mhm.
kettle.whistle.radio on Instagram. And yeah, give us a like. We'd love that. YouTube too now. We're on YouTube.
Yay.
We've done some video with some episodes.
Okay.
You'll be on one of them.
I'll have to find you on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh
Is
wait,
it?
we didn't do video. Did we do video that day? Yes, we
I
did.
think we did. Yeah. No,
Yes,
we
we
did.
did. See,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
that usually video usually follows up 2 to 3 weeks after I put it up on
Oh,
audio.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Fabulous. Yeah, I'll have to
lots
find.
of good music. Oh, I should say this. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Kettle Whistle Radio on Spotify. There's a song list every time we have bands or talk about bands or have some association
Mhm.
or we play their music. There's a song list of Kettle Whistle Radio of all the bands. I believe we have your stuff on there.
Oh, good.
That's on there too. Yeah, you can see all our stuff on there. A lot of good music. We've had a lot of good
Yeah.
bands. We really
Yeah.
have.
Well, I'll have to find you guys on YouTube. I'll follow you on both my music and my pod and this podcast page.
Certainly.
So,
Yeah, you're gonna end up on there. You'll be on the YouTube channel.
yeah. All right. Cool. Well,
Yes,
thank you so much. This was a lot of fun,
I
and
appreciate it.
it was really, really great, like chatting
Yes.
again, and just kind of, just hearing about what inspired a lot of your stories, because that's really what I was curious about. I was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Real life. The book you're holding there, real life, real
Hmm.
human interaction. I use monsters for metaphors. Still, I did that in my first
Yeah.
book too.
Hmm.
Yeah, the monsters. My monsters are pretty original. Yeah, I have vampires and werewolves, but
Hmm.
I go the H.P. Lovecraft route where he created his own creatures, and
Yeah.
I pride myself in that in a couple of the books.
Hmm.
A lot of witchcraft going on in that one right there,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
human drama mixed with supernatural.
Yeah.
And that picture, I love that picture. That's Tanya Mendez's work.
That is so cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
that's a
it.
real church somewhere. And
Mm.
yeah, that takes place in the opening pages. So
Nice.
you know what I did, Tiffany? I did something
Uh-huh.
very different in this book.
Oh, okay.
Because a professor, a friend of mine, Michelle,
Mhm.
she told me that all your characters start to sound like David. All I hear is David. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh boy. So I worked on that. That book right
Mhm.
there has several different narrators.
Okay.
Some are telling the stories, some are telling the whole encompassing story, some come and go.
Uh-huh.
And I played with different narrations and voices.
Mhm.
And some are over the top, especially when you get to the end. And
Yeah.
some are just very matter of fact.
Mhm.
So take it at, and every story is different. There's something in that for
Mhm.
everybody. Even if you like emotions, yeah, it's full of emo. I went emo on that book. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, check out his work definitely, and this Dead Memories. I will be doing a review on it on
Cool.
the After Hours YouTube channel and everything. So
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun, and definitely check out Fairly Dark Productions. Check out Kettle Whistle Radio, because there's like an episode with me on there, and also
Yeah.
other awesome guests and everything. And
Yes.
yeah, definitely. So anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Just well, just that the music is always involved on the audio portion. YouTube will take the music off if
Yeah, YouTube is
everybody
weird
should
like
know that.
that.
That's a message to podcasters everywhere. Just be ready for it. I had a
Yeah.
live performance. Somehow that's still on there. Recently, some live performances stay, but
Hmm.
YouTube will flag you on it. But
Yeah.
all the music is always on the audio portions.
Hmm.
The YouTube is usually just the interview, or sometimes it's more, sometimes less. The
Hmm.
audio is usually an hour and a half long for each
Yeah.
episode. Um, and that book, I'll just say in closing with that book, it's not what you when you first start with that first one or two stories. That's not how the whole book rides. Every story is
Okay.
very different and narrated very differently from each person. So
Hmm.
if you don't like how the first one goes, it's going to change.
Okay.
You might really like how it goes, but it's going to change.
But hey, change is good. So
Yes. And until my next one, which I'm going to make sure you get a copy of. Yeah.
can't wait. Yes. All right. Well, thank you, David, for coming on. And yeah, thank you, everyone, for listening. And there's a lot more to come. And as always, stay safe, stay spooky, stay fierce. All right. So this is Tiffany signing off. All right. Have a good night, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Good night.